We will be going live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. If you haven't heard already, we're about to tell you. The president of Iran died in a helicopter crash. Not too similar to Kobe, or not too dissimilar to Kobe Bryant. So, what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? Now, of course, there's all kinds of conspiracy theories going around. We all know that Iran shot missiles over to Israel, which the majority of them are shot down by their Iron Dome, and actually by Jordan and a couple other countries shot their missiles down. It was really just a political posturing thing. They knew those missiles would be shot down. They just wanted to have a show of power, show of strength. Well, conspiracy theories are already bubbling up that the Israelis are the ones who sabotaged the helicopter or something, which is funny because the initial reports were he died because of a very hard landing. Like, they didn't say the helicopter crashed, they just said it was a hard landing. So I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's within the realm of possibility that someone or the Israelis sabotaged the helicopter or shot it down, but it doesn't appear to be any evidence for being shot down, especially since the initial reports where it was a hard landing. So,
Yeah, and similar to this is if you can see, if anybody is watching right now, if you can see the pictures that I'm showing of the rescue effort, it's foggy. They're in a mountainous area and it's super foggy. So if the helicopter can't see where it's landing and you're in a very mountainous terrain, if you hit anything, you're going to crash. You
oh yeah,
misjudged the ground level and you're going down harder than you think, you've crashed.
yeah,
So it's not too surprising. I mean, from these pictures, it's super thick fog. I mean, you can barely see even in the pictures.
mm-hmm.
So that's all
So,
I've really got on that.
and a lot of people are worried. What does this mean for geopolitics? What does this mean for the future of global stability? Honestly, I don't think it's going to mean a whole lot. Now, I'm sure he was close friends with the Ayatollah, but I mean, the Ayatollah, he's like the Hitler figure. I mean, he has final say in absolutely everything. The president is just a political appointee, essentially. He doesn't have any, he's the second man to the man. So whatever the Ayatollah says goes. The president just kind of carries out his orders in a way he sees fit. I mean, I think everyone kind of thinks it's like this giant Game of Thrones thing where everyone has their own political ambitions, but at the end of the day, the Ayatollah is the guy in Iran. So, uh, this guy, they'll just appoint somebody else who's going to be fall in line with whatever the Ayatollah wants. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, no, I think the Babylon Bee made a post, and of course, it's always good. The Babylon Bee is always their political commentary is always on point. So I think Chad's getting ready to pull this into the screen here and take a look, and then he can read it when it's up and running.
Yes, it is up. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to get rid of one last little thing here. All right, and it says here Iranian president asked manager of paradise, where are all the virgins? And if he could be possible to turn the heat down a tad. If you can't see the picture if you're watching, he's clearly in hell.
But yeah, the Babylon Bee, their social commentary always on point. So glad Elon Musk bought Twitter so they could still have their accounts up and continue to post W's all over the internet. So I just love sharing their stuff. I think again their political commentary is really really good. Now, speaking of, or while we're on the subject of air crashes or aerial malfunctions, if you hadn't heard, Boeing has been in some controversy here for a while now. If there was a whistleblower that came forward to kind of basically say Boeing is sidestepping security and safety protocols in order to put planes or keep planes up in the air and running. This guy that was a whistleblower was assassinated in his car in the parking lot of his hotel. So Boeing is kind of in some hot water right now. Obviously, there's nothing out there that can prove, but I mean, it's like, why would this whistleblower kill himself? I mean, the guy came forward and was pretty adamant about wanting to talk about. I mean, he had been saying stuff for a while about how they had been skirting safety procedures and, basically just pushing on, paying people to push through unsafe planes, paying off people to pass inspections. This has been going on for years. I mean, boats used to do this stuff. Planes, the plane industry is no exception, especially with as desperate times as we're in right now. I mean, I had a friend that worked over at American Airlines, and they were literally forcing dudes out the door. They were all about they hired this woman who was a big feminist, and she came in and goes, "Yeah, we're going to focus on diversity, equity, inclusion." And my buddy who was in the environmental department goes, "Well, what does that mean for us? The vast majority of us here are of Caucasian descent." And she was just like, "Oh, your jobs are fine, but that's just what bosses say to people whenever they're not wanting to get pushback on their bad business ideas or their bad political policies that they're pushing through corporate." So it's like, oh yeah, your job's safe until it's not, until we can wave bye-bye and replace you with someone who's potentially less qualified. Potentially, I say potentially, they could have the same qualifications, maybe less experience. So it doesn't bode well, this kind of stuff. But again, Boeing has been surrounded in this country since this guy wound up dead in the car on the parking. I mean, he was due to testify in court the next day, shot in the back of the head in his car. And of course the media's all in for Boeing, and there's really no scrutiny of like, oh, this guy just probably killed himself because he doesn't really have a case. It's like, really, that's the route you're gonna go?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I've got the video queued up if you want to play it.
But yeah, no. So this is a satirical video that somebody put together about Boeing. But yeah, whenever you're ready, you can play it.
All right.
Assassinating people, says a representative from Boeing.
We're in no way trying to assassinate people to talk about the defects of our airplanes. Because there are no defects. The planes are actually in tip-top shape. They're in the best shape they've ever been in. And yes, we want to be fully transparent that we had a moment of weakness and a few doors were blowing off the airplanes. But that was actually just propaganda by the Jews. Yes. No, by the Palestinians. By... why don't, if you look at the evidence, you'll see, you don't need to look at the evidence. There's actually nothing to see there. You don't need to fucking look at it.
Definitely not assassinating people, says a representative from Boeing.
We're in no way trying to...
That's it. That's hilarious. I like that.
Yeah, I have to thank my girlfriend for sending me that this morning. I appreciate that, Fung Yang. But yeah, that's kind of what the public thinks about Boeing right now. I mean, I don't know if anything's going to come of this whole situation. I mean, I doubt anything will, as big as Boeing is. I mean, remember, Nikki Haley is on the board of directors at Boeing, making $1 million figure salary off of working for Boeing, keeping her political power in check. So,
yeah, if she's on the board of Boeing and planes are falling apart, I can't imagine what she'd do with the country.
Yeah, holy cow. But, yeah, it's scary that this kind of stuff is happening today. But, I mean, this kind of stuff has been going on for years. This is the kind of stuff that's been going on forever. Boats as far back as the 1900s were doing this. Like, just pay off somebody, pay off the inspectors, pay off the Coast Guard, whoever you got to pay off to just give us a thumbs up on the inspection and move on. This is not new. None of this is new. But, again, when planes start falling out of the sky, I know you guys are trying to save money, cut corners, and have as many flights going in and out as you can, but the minute planes start falling off the skies, doors start blowing off, people are going to start thinking, I might just drive or just not travel anymore. Same goes for pilots, for that matter. So it's just scary times we live in, man, and it's not looking hot for airline travel nor helicopter travel, apparently. But yeah, I guess we can kind of move on to some more culture-related stuff if you have some of the other videos queued up, my friend.
Oh, did you want to talk about the Trump stuff with the Michael Cohen thing?
Yeah. Yes, we could talk about that real quick. We'll probably have a little bit more on this tomorrow, but Trump. Apparently, the Trump case is falling apart for the prosecution. Michael Cohen's testimony was occurring yesterday, and it is falling apart. He basically lied about everything. I think, from what it seems, Cohen thought that if he took out a home equity loan to pay off Stormy Daniels, he could parlay favor with Trump and then have a political appointee to a government position. He could be appointed to a government position in Trump's office. Well, he did this. I guess it really flew under Trump's radar, and it wasn't that big of a deal to him. So he kind of pseudo wants revenge. Now, what this means to Cohen is, Cohen was ready. Apparently, according to him, he was wanting to commit suicide because he didn't really know what to do. So what happens whenever you have somebody who's on the ropes? Your political opponents come up to him and go, well, why don't you just say whatever you got to say to help us get Trump locked away? And Cohen was literally like, I've got nothing on the guy. Nothing. The stuff I did because I thought I could parlay favor with him. He never asked me to do any of this stuff.
Yep. And he basically stole like $60,000 from the man too.
So a lot of people don't understand. So basically, you as a standard person, you could send an invoice to a company like Facebook, to a company like Google, and say, you need to be paid, and more than likely, Google and Facebook will pay you. A guy stole like several $1 million from Facebook for doing this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Just like he never worked for him, didn't even all he did was just send Facebook invoice checks, and Facebook would pay it. And then finally somebody looked into it, going, why are we sending this money to this dude? What is he doing for us? Is he doing some independent contracting work for us or something? And that's what happens when companies get too big. They just start writing checks to people because there's not enough oversight to see what's going on. It's the same with what was going on with Trump and this Cohen guy. Cohen just started invoicing Trump for $60,000.
Yep.
He paid $30,000 to something and he pocketed the other $30,000. The guy's bad news. But this is what happens, So he was on his ropes, got approached by the opposition, and they're like, whatever you can do to help us get this guy, do it. And again, this goes to show you this trial was completely a sham.
Yeah. There are two key witnesses, Stormy Daniels and Michael Cohen, and nothing came from either one of their testimonies.
Other than basically exonerating Trump.
Yes. The sheer fact that Bill Maher interview with Stormy Daniels got torn her testimony to shreds, and then she was talking about demons and being a medium and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then CNN, the great partisan CNN, so I say that with sarcasm if you guys can't read my facial expressions or understand my social cues and my tone of my voice, but CNN is even going, yeah, this is not looking good. And this is what happens when you just are a partisan hack. This is what happens when you just go, yeah, Trump's bad. We just have to do whatever we can to make sure he can't run again. You basically fall flat on your face whenever you try to prosecute people wrongfully. The only thing the prosecution can argue, well, even though Trump's not guilty, and again, that's not how you argue law. Law is you get them on whatever you're prosecuting them for. The only thing they can say is to the jury is, well, he's not guilty of this, but he's guilty of something. So if you guys still want to convict, they're not going to pull out, then Trump's lawyers are going to be like, if the glove does not fit, you must acquit.
Mm-hmm.
So
pretty much.
Yeah, this whole thing was a political partisan sham, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it looks like Trump will be exonerated, and this will be just another W. Again, this took tons of time, resources off of Trump and is from his campaign trail.
Yeah.
But I think it ultimately might have done good for him, and because people
It's
look
kept
at it.
media
Yeah.
attention on him. They said regardless of whether or not he could campaign or not, which I mean, that's all this has done is like this has been just a hamper for him to be able to campaign. But even if it's been a hamper for him to campaign, all the eyes of the world are upon him during his trial.
Yeah.
Whether it be his supporters cheering him on and be like, "Yay, get this trial over with and show him that he's innocent," or his dejectors being out there being like, lock him up. You still got eyes on him. So this is basically him campaigning.
It's free. Yeah, it's free PR, free press. Remember, there is no such thing as bad press. There's just press. So, with that being said, things are looking good for Trump and the Trump 2024 campaign. So, hopefully, this just helps strengthen his case and cause for a future Trump candidacy. Now, we actually still have plenty of time. We're actually kind of blowing through these topics much faster than I thought we would. So we can play the next. Let's do the John Oliver one last. We'll do the other one first because this is
Indoctrinating kids.
Yeah. So what? For those of you who have kids, for those of you who are watching this show, do you monitor what your kids watch? Are you aware? I mean, what apps do you have? What media programs do you pay for? Like Netflix? Do you have Netflix? Do you have Disney Plus? Do you have Hulu? What do you have? What are you paying for? So this video we're about to show it was posted by Libs of TikTok. Thank God for Haya Rychik, and she's doing God's work out here. But this family was letting their kids watch a Netflix show. It's called Jurassic World Cretaceous Park.
Camp.
Camp Cretaceous is what it's called. So it's a Jurassic World show, and it's called Camp Cretaceous. And it's a kids show, cartoon. And the parents just kind of were letting the kids watch it because like, oh, okay, it's Jurassic World. It's dinosaurs. It's harmless. Well, take a look at what the parents put their kids to bed and left the show running, and they came back out, and this is what they saw.
Mm-hmm. All right, I am playing now.
Do you have levels on the
Oh, sorry, I didn't hit the button.
You were trying to tell me something before.
Yes, we have levels.
What? Earlier in the list, before the Nothosaurus went all crazy, it seems super important. It was. The truth is, Sammy, I've fallen for you.
Lord have mercy.
Like, hard. Real hard.
Jurassic World, Jurassic World. Since when did this happen in Jurassic World? I thought it was about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs, guys.
I don't even know when.
Oh my gosh. Look at this. Jurassic World, guys. Protect the kids. Protect your kids. Sometimes you have to watch what they watch. Watch what they watch, guys. This is crazy, guys. This is Jurassic World, Jurassic World. And we sent our kids to bed just before this happened. We didn't even know this was going to happen. This is crazy. This is crazy, guys. Guys, watch what your kids are watching. Be careful. It's everywhere now. Folks, you need to check this out. We just sent our kids to bed.
Yep.
But yeah, there you go, right there. That is them indoctrinating your kids. Again, the left-wing philosophy. We don't have our own kids. We have yours.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be aware of what your children are consuming. You have to sit down and watch shows with them. And again, that's not going to be every episode. That they were watching that show all day. And they came out after they put the kids to bed to see that on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So not every single episode is going to be inundated with it, but when you catch one, when they have their little pop fly episode in there, that's them slowly indoctrinating them and socially engineering your kids into thinking If you don't agree with what's on the screen there, you're the bigot. You're the bad person. That's why you don't want your kids exposed to this kind of stuff. You got these weirdo pedophiles in Hollywood who are just cramming this crap in, saying, hey, we know what's best for your kids. You don't know what's best for your kids. So,
well, and two is like, it's what the left does. It takes a known and popular franchise
and destroys
then it destroys it by doing stuff like this. Like, what does this have to do with Jurassic World? Nothing. Nothing at all. But that's what they do. That's what the left does. That's what they've done with comic books. I mean, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but I mean, they made, at one point, they had a comic book spinoff where Superman was gay. And that's what they do. They just turn your favorite characters that you've known that have been a certain way their whole time. And they're like, what would we do if we turn this person gay or trans or something? And that's all that they do. They just take a character that's been popular and beloved for years, and then they change him.
Yeah. Evil can't create. It can only destroy. I think Tolkien said that. J.J.R. Tolkien.
Yep, J.R. Tolkien.
J.R. Tolkien. But yeah, that's what they do. These uncreative people just buy the rights to something, and then they destroy it. I mean, the only really good Jurassic Park film is the first one. The second one's meh. The third one's bleh. You know, and then Jurassic World was just a recapturing or trying to redo the first movie with better CGI, I guess. I mean, I can barely say it was better CGI. I mean, the first one still is a masterpiece. Holds up today. But yeah, and then the other... I didn't even watch the last Jurassic World movie. I watched the second one, and I was like, this is dumb. Like, really bad. And then the third one, it just flew past my radar. I never even saw it. I've seen clips.
Well, yeah, they lost me at the second Jurassic World movie where they let a little girl doom the world.
Yeah, doom the world by releasing dinosaurs. You're like,
they're like me.
They're clones like me. It's like... And you've doomed the society. Thank you, little girl.
You just killed hundreds of people.
Yes.
Maybe thousands.
Yeah. Ridiculous. But yeah, just, again, be advised of what your kids, be aware of what they're watching, be aware of what they're consuming. Check the history on their phones if you let your kids have phones. Monitor the shows they watch. You got to be an active parent. You cannot just be a passive parent and let your kids consume whatever they want, because you'll be surprised they turn into like a pseudo-communist Marxist. They'll come out gay or trans, and that's on you at that point. So be aware. And I think finally we got this last little video, and I don't know if you guys know who... Again, I don't like Jon Stewart. I think he's funny sometimes. I think he's a partisan hack. Of the people that Jon Stewart brought up, John Oliver is the one I like the least. He is the snobbiest, most condescending, rude, snobbish British elite that's ever come here. And Freedom Tunes...
Even over Trevor Noah, and I hate Trevor Noah, too.
I know, yeah, I can't stand Trevor Noah either. I mean, but Trevor Noah's comedy stand-up's actually okay, but... his stuff on the Daily Show is it's such partisan hackery that you just sit there and you're like, what is this garbage?
Well, I remember an interview where he was even like, I'm getting sick of talking about Trump. He actually had an interview with like an actual news channel, not just the Daily Show.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm kind of sick of talking about all this, but that's all they give me.
Yeah,
that's all they want me to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, because it's not about comedy, it's just about partisan political hackery is what it's about. So, Freedom Tunes, we've shown you Freedom Tunes on the channel before. He has put together a really good clip here of John Oliver. I think it's really good. So, let's check it out.
While compassion for the migrant is an important part of immigration policy decision-making, civil authorities also have a duty to consider the common good of native-born citizens as well.
Holy sh**! He actually just said that!
That sums up John Oliver right there, man. Like, that is perfect. I mean, he is so uncharitable. He strawmans absolutely every single one of his political opponents. And then whenever he's proved wrong on a subject, he literally just does what Jon Stewart does. He just goes, I'm just a comedian. I'm just a comedian. You can't judge me by news standards. It's ridiculous. In fact, there was this town that named their... so John Oliver came after a town in one of his segments one time. It was some, small town community, and they did not appreciate how he basically portrayed their town to the world on his show. And they named the sewage station after John. They said, this is the John Oliver sewage dump, and that he was livid. I mean, he did another segment on the town calling them all pieces of crap. I mean, the people in town, like some people in this town didn't have anything to do with it, but he was just sitting there dumping on the whole town once again. So, I mean, that's the kind of person he is, just a partisan hack who cannot take any criticism of himself and cannot reflect inward. So, if you follow Jon Stewart or any of those people from Jon Stewart's ilk of The Daily Show, I pity you. The only one that's any good at all is Rob Riggle. Rob Riggle is good. He's a Marine vet, and, he just has that very dry, ridiculous, he's borderline Will Ferrell-ish kind of humor. He's very funny. So I like Rob Riggle. He's the only one that I really like of the Jon Stewart time of the Daily Show, the guys that got famous and came up with him on that. So that's about all we got for you today. That I just want to end with that John Oliver segment because it was so funny. It's so good. So that's all we got for you today. This is the Twins with the Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. And that's all we've got for you today. We're signing off. God bless y'all.
See you later, everybody.